In early 2026, Google Threat Intelligence identified a hacking group using an AI model called OpenClaw to find a zero-day vulnerability in a major system administration tool. Before security teams could even react, the AI successfully bypassed two-factor authentication. That exact same week, Capcom celebrated the highest revenue in its entire history. They sold 59 million games, driven almost entirely by older titles from decades past. The software running our infrastructure and cybersecurity is moving so fast, it's leaving human operators behind. At the exact same time, the entertainment software we consume in our downtime is intentionally looking backward. To understand the current digital economy, we have to look at how industry giants are simultaneously weaponizing massive technological acceleration and calculated, highly profitable stagnation. Watching these two extremes play out reveals a distinct split in our digital reality.
As consumers, we are now forced to live at two completely different speeds. Discovering 0 days used to require months of manual research. With OpenClaw, that process collapsed into hours of automated exploitation. Defenders cannot type fast enough to intercept agentic threats, forcing security companies to deploy defensive AI to counterattacks before a human is even notified. We see exactly what happens when we rely on manual human patching. During the Canvas Learning Management System breach, the company discovered an API vulnerability, manually patched it, and believed the threat was contained. Days later, the same hacking group returned and breached the system again through a similar flaw. Because of that failed manual process, 3.65 terabytes of data were stolen. The personal information of 275 million students and faculty across 9,000 educational institutions was exposed globally. This removal of the human element carries over into consumer software. Google's rollout of Android 17 introduces a feature they called Gemini Intelligence. This is an example of agentic AI. You tell your phone to book an Italian restaurant, and without any further input from you, the software opens Google Maps, searches for a location, switches to a reservation app, and fills out the booking form. Whether it is an underground model executing a global cyber attack or a digital assistant booking a table for two, our software ecosystem has completely stopped waiting for human instruction to act. Meanwhile, the entertainment sector is pulling hard in the opposite direction. Capcom posted its highest sales numbers ever, moving 59.07 million units in a single fiscal year. This chart breaks down exactly where those numbers come from. A staggering 83.7% of Capcom's total sales volume was driven entirely by older games in their catalog and remakes of classics like Resident Evil. Instead of pouring resources into risky new intellectual properties, the industry's biggest publishers are focusing on polished pasts and evergreen franchises that already hold a dedicated fanbase. Even the industry's most veteran creators are leaning heavily into this strategy. Katsuhiro Harada left Bandai Namco after 31 years directing Tekken, partnering with traditional rival SNK to form a new company called VS Studio. While it generated massive headlines, this studio launch is essentially a reshuffling of legacy creators and decades-old fighting game properties from the 1990s. Rockstar Games relies on the same concept, recently adding Red Dead Redemption 2 to PlayStation Plus to generate continuous revenue from existing assets. Despite being 5.5 years into the PlayStation 5's hardware lifecycle, Rockstar continues to run the game through backward compatibility capped at 30 frames per second, actively refusing to build a modernized native port. They simply do not have to upgrade it. The evergreen model proves that in the entertainment sector, standing completely still and monetizing the past is far more lucrative than funding rapid innovation. These two distinct trends, autonomous digital threats and recycled entertainment, intersect in how we psychologically consume them. As utilitarian technology becomes volatile and operates entirely on its own, consumers naturally seek out stability. Replaying a familiar game or interacting with a trusted, decades-old franchise serves as a stabilizing anchor when our everyday software feels out of our control. Surviving this acceleration requires taking back manual control where it matters most. Because AI models can bypass standard two-factor authentication overnight, organizations and individuals have to upgrade their systems to complex multi-factor authentication immediately. You also need to manually isolate your credentials.
If you are swept up in massive breaches like the Canvas LMS attack, change your legacy passwords right now to prevent automated bots from cycling your exposed data across other platforms. When you look closely, the willingness to play a 30 frame per second port of an old Western makes perfect sense. It is a deliberate psychological retreat. We are looking for a predictable, manual experience to serve as a quiet place to hide, right as our digital landscape stops